countries like Australia, the US, UK, Canada, they all come across as the most popular of all times. Um, and the cost is significantly on the higher side. You can expect to spend about 20 to 25 lakh rupees per year easily, which would include your tuition fee and it will include your living cost as well. But at the same time, the world is not limited to just these countries, and not all scholars, not all people who are doing well in their life have graduated just from from the universities located in these countries. It's a very basic thing to say, but it really makes a lot of sense. So, what else is available? Well, there are European countries, there are Asian countries, there is United Arab Emirates, and of course, there's India as well. And amongst these continents, like Europe, you will find a pattern where public universities offer subsidized education, and private universities do have a tuition fee, which will cost you somewhere around, let's say, 10 to 15 lakh rupees on an average for 1 year of study. And they do offer you scholarships as well, up to 50%, but most commonly it's around 10 to 20%. And it's usually a one time scholarship that you're able to get. Now, if we talk about the subsidized education at public universities, the most popular countries that are taken into consideration would be Germany, Italy, Spain, France, Czech Republic, um, Hungary, Latvia, Lithuania, and there are students who are willing to go to Austria, Denmark, Norway, and then there's also a bunch of students who are very keen on going to countries like Sweden, Finland, Netherlands. So what what makes these countries different from each other in terms of cost is, in countries like Germany, Italy, you will notice that the public universities charge you not more than 1,000 or 1,500 euros in most cases. There are exceptions. There are courses which cost you as high as $20,000 or 20,000 euros as well in the same public universities, but that's a very limited range of courses. Most courses you will find are taught under the subsidized scheme of tuition fee, which is available to international students as well. And the whole reason why they do it is because they feel that education is an investment. It's not a business. They expect the people who are graduating from the universities in their countries would somehow give it back to their country, their economy, by working there. So that's how they see it as an investment, and the return on investment, of course, is much higher for them. So they want to make sure that it is accessible to as many students as possible. Now, another thing that must be taken into consideration, if at all Europe or any European country seems of interest to you because of the fee factor, please do understand that it's not an easy journey. These countries, all of them have their own language. And even within those countries, if you move up to the north, south, center, any part of the country, you will notice that the pronunciation of the same language differs a lot. So, even if you were very proficient in the native language, you might still find it hard to understand. The purpose of telling you this is not to discourage you, but it is to make you aware that if you do decide to study in Europe, you must know that you will have to learn a third language. What language that would be is your choice. You can go for Spanish, you can go for German, you can go for French, Dutch, Italian, or any other language for that matter. But it's highly recommended, of course, go for the first three because they are widely spoken, they are business languages, they help you in your job prospects, and so on and so forth. um, so that's something which must always be taken into account. So it's always said, like it's said often, that if something's coming to you for free or for low cost, there's always a hidden cost. Here the hidden cost is that you have to put in a lot of hard work and extra effort, and then the returns you will get would be as per your expectations or beyond that. If you decide to go to Germany, for an English taught course and you say that I will be able to learn German, let me break it down for you. You're going to a different country, that's one. You are going on your own, maybe first time in your life, that's two. You're going to be surrounded by a bunch of people you've never met before. They come from different countries, different cultures, they speak different languages, and the only thing which connects them is probably English, but that's not something which will help them sail through beyond a certain point. And then you are going to a country, most importantly, you're going to a country where the native people, the people of that country, speak a different language. So it's very hard for you to understand now, but when you land there, this is enough to scare you because there's nothing more important or more common than language that connects us all. So it's important for you to understand that if you want to make your way, you need to become one of them. And if you want to become one of them, you have to learn the language. Now, that's one thing. The other thing is in countries like Germany, Italy, Spain, France, you will notice that, of course, there are English taught degrees and the cost is relatively very low. Um, there's another thing to register that there are very limited English taught courses. They're not so limited that you don't stand a chance, but you need to understand that the outcome of your application is not going to be that easy or predictable because there would be a fewer number of seats for English taught degree courses for international students, and there will be students from across the globe applying for those. So if you prepare yourself in a way that you will only apply for one university, four universities in one country, you might limit your chances to a great extent. It is very important for you to know the real chances of you getting into a public university in Germany versus getting into a public university in Italy versus Spain, France, Czech Republic, or any other country. But I strongly suggest that do not confine yourself to just one country if you are sticking to public universities only, because their administrative systems are not as thorough in the sense of response times, follow throughs, as they are with private universities or universities in Australia, UK, Canada, US. Here, public universities do not really promote themselves. It's like they already have so many applications that they don't need to promote themselves. It's actually the agents or the representatives of that particular country or the word of mouth that helps you know that okay, that's also something available. There's something like free education or subsidized education abroad as well. So that's so it's important to know that the way you decide on your shortlist really affects how the end of that process is going to be. So, what I said about spending, I always say that you need at least 1 year to actually prepare yourself, plan, and land into your dream university and college. And it all starts with discussions like these, understanding what all actually matters. Um, there are countries like Sweden, Finland, Netherlands. Here, the concept of free education or subsidized education for international students is not really into play. So you end up getting universities who still cost you a little higher, which can be 10 lakhs, 15 lakhs, a range of these higher or slightly lower. So Europe is vast. Every country has a different process. Every university has a slightly unique way of taking your application, assessing your file, and it's also important to know that academics are of great importance, which means your score that you got in your bachelor's or your 12th will matter a lot, but it's not everything, which is a good thing. Um, one of the primary deciding factor for admissions is actually the credit points, but it's not only credit points, and there's a different way of them calculating your credits into the European credit transfer system. So um, there are a lot of such little things, that ultimately help you understand what are your chances, what will actually work for you, how you should prepare for it. Should you go directly for an English taught program? Should you take a language course leading to a degree program? Should you start learning language in India? To what level should you do it? Because when you go there, besides the things I've already told you you'll be dealing with, you would also be dealing with a different education system that you've never been exposed to before. And if you think that learning a language like German, French, or Spanish while dealing with an education system and doing your degree and trying to find a part time job so that you can manage your living, if all of that can go together, it's not so easy, is all I can say. It will affect one or the other thing. And the first thing it affects is your health, your mental health to begin with, and then your physical health. And eventually, it takes a toll on your performance in the university, your ability to work part time, make good decisions. And then students try to take shortcuts. And that's how, it becomes a chain of events which land them into a position where they say we don't have a job, or what we thought we would be able to do, we're not able to do it. So the whole idea of doing this video on the cost is that yes, Europe is one of the most affordable study abroad destinations. I myself have sent a lot of students to European countries under the scheme of subsidized education, and I love to promote that because I feel if it is accessible, no one should be deprived of such a great education system, because degree is not equal to career, is what I understand, and education is not equal to degree, is what I understand. It's all about skills, it's about the practical understanding of concepts, application of concepts, um, and ultimately finding a job or building your own, something of your own. So take all of these factors into consideration. These are only a few, there are many more, and all of these apply to every individual student in a unique way. So there's no way of giving you all a list, of universities across these countries that will fit just because the course is the same. No. Within the course also, you'll notice there's a huge difference in the course modules offered, specializations available, accreditations, entry requirements, deadlines. And there's one more thing to consider when you decide to study in a European country with public university. You will have to apply in a handful of universities so that you have a fair chance of getting at least a couple of offers. And when you do that, you will have to apply in a few universities, of course, and pay an application fee. Most public universities do have an application fee because they cannot just process thousands of applications where they don't even know if the student is serious enough. So before deciding on the cost of education that will incur when you land, you must take into consideration the cost that is involved in the process. And that can be as much as 1 lakh rupees, and it's not an easy amount to arrange sometimes. So that's all I would like to share with you. I hope it helps. I hope it gives you clarity and some information on how you should plan your studies in a European country. And if you are planning for the same, I'm all here to help you. Um, you can just connect with me. We can have a discussion one to one to understand what your preferences are, what your financial situation is, and what are your expectations. I never believe that if your budget is 5 lakhs, for example, versus someone who's got 30 lakhs to spend on the same thing, you deserve any less of the quality and opportunities. And to make sure that happens, it's important to make you aware of all the possibilities, the cost involved beyond money, and so that you can make an informed decision. So, thanks a lot, and I look forward to connecting with you one to one. Thank you.